The Dwindle layout on Hyprland is way more complicated than it should be because just take a look at this wiki, okay? Now here we have the page for Dwindle layout on Hyprland's wiki, and there are just so many options that you're probably never even going to use or never even going to touch in your life. So what I've done is basically compile a list of options over here that's going to be the most useful for you so that you can just watch these, okay? You can just take a look at these and then go about the rest of your day using them if you want to, if you're using the Dwindle layout. Now, first of all, Dwindle is a BSPWM-like layout. So if you've ever used BSPWM, which stands for Binary Space Partitioning Window Manager, okay, this used to be the window manager to use back in the X11 days, right? So if you've used this window manager, then you'll know that whenever you open a bunch of windows, this is what it looks like. So usually on BSPWM, it doesn't matter where your cursor is. Most of the times, your cursor is going to be somewhere on the right side. And so whenever you open a bunch of windows, this is what it looks like. The windows open as though they are leaves. Yes, leaves of a binary tree. This is what the layout looks like by default. And chances are, if you haven't configured the layout and then changed it to something like master or scrolling, you're going to have the same layout that you see over here. Now, let's get started with each of the config options. Now, there is going to be a description for each of the config options that you see here. You can read these, or I have given comments for each of the config options in an easy to understand way so that you don't have to go there and read. Okay, now first of all, we have pseudotile. Okay, now this is to tile floating windows. Why exactly would you want to tile a floating window? Let's say, for example, you have a pop-up of something like GIMP or Kdenlive right before it's loading. If you want that to be tiled for some reason, or you want, let's say, a different app that is unresizable, but then you still want it to be tiled, instead of just letting it be floating in the center of the screen and blocking your vision, okay, blocking the ability that you have to control whatever other elements that you want on whatever different apps, you can instead basically tile that floating window and then send it off to the side. So let me show you how this actually works. Now if I press Mod P, okay, what it's going to do is basically enable pseudotiling. So I can launch whatever apps that I want, and then this window is basically going to be tiled, but then floating. So if you want tiling for floating windows, this is the option that you're going to have to enable. Okay, now by default, pseudotiling is not going to be enabled, so you'll have to go to config, hyper, modules. Now where is that? This is inside of binds. Okay, so binds.conf. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering what this modules folder is all about, I cover it in extreme detail in a section called Modularity in the first link in the description. So basically, if I show you over here, it's in finishing touches, right? This program is the first link in the description. I show you exactly how you can write Hyprland over here to get custom theme switchers like this one, but basically every single aspect of your system is themed. Like for example, if I show you something like niche, okay, this is a fetch tool that we have in Hyprland, or basically on Arch Linux. And let's say I show you VS Codium, that opens up over here. And then after that, let's say I show you something else. What else can I show you? Let's say Discord, and open up Discord. This is probably the kind of setup that you would have by default. Now let's also open another terminal, or let's just keep it this way. Okay, a file manager. That should work. Now, what we can do here is basically just select whatever theme that we want. Okay, let's just select the theme. Okay, let's exit this. Select whichever theme that we want. Let's say I wanted something like Rose Pine. And what this is going to do is basically change the theme for every single part of the system. Okay, as you can see, it applies the wallpaper, and then it applies it to the terminal, to Discord, to VS Codium, as well as the file manager over here. This also works for GTK4 apps. Okay, now if I show you Nautilus, as you can see, it works for GTK4 apps perfectly fine as well. Now, this is there for Spotify as well, and for basically every single app that you can possibly think of. So if you want to know how to make something like this without wasting a bunch of time, okay, without monkey see, monkey do, copying other people's setups, okay, just basically stealing their setup and then rebranding it as your own. If you don't want to do that, if you actually want to create a setup that you know how it works, right, and that you can actually fix and troubleshoot in case something breaks, I teach you exactly how to do that over here. Now, getting back to where we were, anti-fragile modularity, here I teach you why make things modular, apps to make modular, and how actually we go about doing that. It's basically splitting one file into a bunch of different files, which makes maintenance of the configs a lot easier. And as for the theme switcher part itself, I have that over here. So this, due to the nature of actually making a theme switcher like this one and then theming it as for to apply to basically every single app that you can possibly imagine, it takes quite some time. So this is a 2-hour long module on exactly how you can do that. Yep. So if I show you here, I tell you exactly what theme switches are. I even include flowcharts and everything so you can understand properly. And then I give you the code itself somewhere around here. Yep. So this is how this is working. I've currently increased the speed. Oh, this is actually a time lapse, which is why it seems like this. But anyway, this is the kind of setup that you're going to learn how to make in the program. So if you want to know how to do this, go ahead, click the first link in the description and check it out. The amount of time that you'll save and also mental bandwidth that you'll save without having to jump from one YouTube video to the other, to the next Reddit thread, to the other, to the other, to the other. It's crazy. It's insane. And also, you get to take pride in your own setup and basically not be another monkey see, monkey do person who's just going around copying everybody's setups and then calling it their own, right? So it is what it is. Now, as for the keybinds, let me go down here and I've put in $main mod. So this basically means alt. I've configured it to be alt over here. Mod P is just going to be pseudo. So it enables pseudotiling. That's option 1. And then we have force split. So what force split is going to do is basically split on one side only. Now, if I show you the description here, if I put 0, then split follows mouse. 1 means always split to the left. Left means either the left side of the window or top, okay? And 2 means always split to the right. New windows are going to be on the right side or bottom. So let me show you how each of these ones work, okay? By default, it's going to be 0, which means the split follows mouse. If my mouse is on the right side of the screen and then I press enter a bunch of times, it's going to open a bunch of windows on the right side. If I keep my cursor on the left side of the screen and then I press enter a bunch of times, it's going to split on the left side. Okay, now here, if I change that to 1, even if I shift my cursor all the way to the right side and then hit enter, it's going to split to the left. Now, if you want the maximum BSPWM-like functionality, what you want to do is change force split to 2. And what that's going to do is, even if your cursor is somewhere in the corner of the screen where nobody can see it, right, it's just hiding away in its own corner, if I press enter a bunch of times, it's always going to open windows on the right side of the screen. Now, this is true BSPWM functionality because this is exactly how that window manager used to operate. Okay, then let me actually... Okay, there we go. Now, we have another option called preserve split, which means don't change splits on resize. Now, by default, what happens is, here. So the split is determined dynamically with the width to height ratio of the parent node. So let's say my width, okay, width of this window is greater than the height. So what it's going to do, okay, if width is greater than height, the new window is going to be spawned here. But if height is greater than width, new window is going to be spawned here. No, so it's best if I just show you how this works. Let's say I change preserve split to false, which allows Hyprland to change the split depending on the width to height ratio of two windows. If I increase, as you can see, this is what happens. Okay, let's say I decrease the height of the window. The windows are actually being shifted. The split is being shifted dynamically depending on the width to height ratio of the windows. Let's say I reduce, okay, now one window, this window's height is greater. Okay, let's actually make this even clearer. So now, hold on, yeah. The height is much greater than the width. What happens if I just press it down? Nothing much. Let's say I shift the width of the window to be greater than the height. What happens is that the windows are now side by side. So if width is greater than height, okay, if width of the window is greater than height, the windows are going to be side by side. If height is greater than the width, the windows are going to be top and bottom. That's what's going to happen. If, however, you don't want this to happen, you don't want this functionality, it doesn't matter how the windows are resized. If, let's say, you just wanted to keep a constant size, okay, constant split for the windows, you're just going to have to keep preserve split to true, which means that no matter how much I resize a particular window, it's not going to alter the split in any way. This is actually default behavior on BSPWM as well and on Hyprland as well. Instead of actually putting an explanatory comment, what Vaxry or whoever the developer who worked on this layout did was basically just add in an option, or basically just add in a comment that said, you probably want this, which you do. Okay, now let's go back here. Smart split is going to determine whether you split based on cursor position or not. Right now, smart split is false, and so if I move my cursor to some corner of the screen and then I still spam enter a bunch of times, what's going to happen is the windows are just going to show up on the right side as usual, right? Nothing fancy. Let's say I change smart split to true. Now what's going to happen if I press enter a bunch of times is the split, or basically where new windows open, is going to be determined by where my cursor is. Let's say I put my cursor on the bottom left side of the screen. What it's going to do is pull up windows over here. If it's on the top right, then it's going to pull up windows over here at the top. If my cursor is in the bottom right, it's just going to keep the usual tiling that we had before. So if you want to determine where exactly you want windows to be split depending on cursor position, you have to turn smart split to true. Now this is actually a bit confusing, and you most likely 99.99% of the time, you don't want to have this option enabled, because what's going to happen is you're going to forget that you had your cursor somewhere over here, okay? And then because of muscle memory, when eventually you get used to the fact that all new windows open up 50-50, okay? 50-50 split on the right side of the screen, your cursor is just going to fly from here or wherever else it is to the right side of the screen. And what's going to happen if you don't have that functionality and instead the splits follow the cursor is you're going to have to keep in mind where exactly your cursor is and then pre-calculate where the new window is going to spawn, so you can go ahead and quickly move the mouse over there and get whatever you need to get done. So instead of dealing with all that BS and stupid shenanigans, you can just turn smart split to false and then not have to deal with any of that. If I do this, ta-da, doesn't matter where my cursor is, windows always open on the right side. Then we have default split ratio. Now, this is basically just going to determine the split ratio for the windows. So if I have default split ratio to be 1, okay, what it's going to do is just split 50-50. If I change it to a number less than 1, let's say it's 0.7, 0.7 basically means the newer window is going to occupy more space on the screen. If, let's say, I don't use 0.7 and instead I use something like 1.3, which is what was existing before, the newer window is going to occupy less space than the older window. That's it. Now, it's not like the master layout where each slave is basically going to have the same, what do you call it, same width, right? Same window dimensions, just on the right side of the screen. Now, the master layout is something I'll discuss in future videos, but that's not what this is. All this determines is just a split ratio. As you can see, 1.3 gives you this sort of ratio. If you want it to be just 50-50 as usual, you can just turn that to 1, and then each new window you open is just going to be split in half. You cut the windows in half. Okay, then let's undo this, and here we have special scale factor. Now, special scale factor is basically going to determine how much scale each window inside of your special workspace has. So right now, if I show you, okay, this is what the special scale factor actually does. Now let's close this window, and right now I have only one window open, right? I can go here, and then let's say I want to change this to something like 1. What this does is basically keep scale at 1. So it doesn't matter how many windows I open. Okay, let's actually undo this, make this 1 as well. Okay, now this is the same as tiling inside of normal workspaces as well. The same split, the same everything. If, however, let's say I wanted to scale the windows a slight bit less inside of the special workspaces, I just reduce this number, and what would happen is like so. Each window is basically going to be 0.8 times 1, so that's basically 0.8 times its original size. Let's say I open a bunch of windows. This is what it looks like. There's basically a lot of gap, and it's not the same as just gaps in and out, because if you just used gaps in and out, you wouldn't get this sort of layout, right? Because the edge of this window is not quite in line with the edge of this window, left edge, right? Same goes for the right edge. So this is a layout thing and can't quite be achieved if you're just using gaps alone. Same for something like 0.95. The left edge peeking out over this window's left edge, and same for this over here. You can resize it. Nothing too fancy, right? But that is what special scale factor does. And let's say, let's go back. Okay, now Here we have an option called single window aspect ratio. What does that mean? This basically means determine aspect ratio for a single tile window. Right now, this option by default is set to 0, 0, which means that any window opened is going to occupy the entirety of the screen, entirety of whatever Hyprland settings allow it, along with other layers like waybar over here, and the gaps that are dictated by Hyprland's config. Let's say that I wanted, for whatever reason, to open any new window in 9x16 mode. So if I wanted to keep any new window, singly tiled window, in a particular aspect ratio, I could do that over here. The reason why you would want to do something like this is because, let's say you're using an ultra-wide display, okay? Ultra-wides are most likely 21:9 or some other crazy aspect ratio like that. When you have a singly tiled window, you ideally would just want to be focusing on one thing. You're not doing any multitasking. It doesn't exactly help if a bunch of the elements on screen are way over here on the left side on your ultra-wide monitor, and a bunch of the other elements are way over on the right side. That doesn't help. And so in order to mitigate that, you can use single window aspect ratio and control the aspect ratio of a singly tiled window that way. And say I wanted 4:3, 4:3 aspect ratio. This is what that looks like. Okay, now 4:3 would probably be something like 16:9 on a 21:9 display. But you're going to have to experiment with this and figure it out on your own. Let's say I wanted to make it something like 4:5. So that's width and then height, I'm guessing. Or this is height and then width. However, the aspect ratios work. Okay, if I make this 8. Yeah, so this is height and then this is width. So if let's say I wanted to get a 5:4, this is what that would look like. If I wanted a square, probably something like 5:5. A better square, something like 3:3. 3:3 aspect ratio. Okay, it doesn't change anything actually. If we make it 7:7. Yeah, sometimes it's supposed to change, other times it doesn't, but you get the drill. This is what it's supposed to do. A 0, 0 just brings it back to the default. And let's say undo all of this and then go to the next section. Okay, turns out that is all the configuration options that I had for you lined up today. If you want to know what each of the rest of this does, just read the description and you can go onto Reddit and then find the solution, or you can just use AI. That works as well. But most likely, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be using just these config options for the Dwindle layout, and that's it. If you want to know how to make a custom theme switcher like this one, that basically changes the entirety of your system to adapt to a single wallpaper, adapt to a single theme, without having to blast through 200 different YouTube tutorials without learning a single thing, right? You can just go ahead, click the first link in the description, and I will teach you how to do it inside of Hyper Accelerator, which is this program over here. If I show you the rest of the code, this is the code that goes into the theme switcher, and yep, as you can see, I teach you exactly how to do this so that if something breaks, you're actually able to troubleshoot it and you're not begging for help on Reddit threads, basically hoping that somebody is going to come along and save the day, because trust me, that's not happening. I've been in that situation countless times, and even if somebody paid me to go back there to suffer like I did to create this program and to basically get whatever experience that I had again, I wouldn't do it. I genuinely don't think that I'd do it. And I don't think you should either. So go ahead, first link in the description. I would love to help you out. If you liked the video, hit like. If you loved it and want to see more like this in your feed, hit subscribe, and I will see you next time. Stay rising.